My name is Taylor Rose, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything reading and writing. Today, we're talking about some hot off the press book community drama. I personally am not a huge fan of contemporary fiction in general, but if you are, you've probably heard the name Ali Hazelwood before. She is a best-selling contemporary romance author. I believe one of her first books was Love Hypothesis, so it was going for those science girls. Most recently, she has come out with Deep End, which was her first alternative spicy novel, from what I understand, as well as Problematic Summer Romance, which is an age gap romance that there's been a lot of discourse about that recently. However, unfortunately, she has deleted her Instagram, and we're going to talk about why. This all started because Ali made an Instagram story, I believe. Obviously, her account's gone now, so I can't double check this, but basically she posted an Instagram story or a post where she said that she preferred Gale to Peeta in The Hunger Games. So when I opened Threads this morning, I was greeted by this post. It's Emily McIntyre says, "Those of you who bullied Ali Hazelwood into deleting her Instagram really need to get a grip. Ridiculous behavior." And I saw a post yesterday where someone said that they were basically told off for mentioning Ali Hazelwood to an autistic person. And they'd been asking, like, did something happen I'm not aware about in regards to her? So I initially, when I saw this post, I was like, oh my gosh, something's come out. Like, is this related to that post from yesterday? I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. She seems to have a really good reputation across the board in terms of being supportive and not a bigot. So I started looking a little deeper, but you can see so many people are being really supportive and talking about how unacceptable some people's behavior is. Once I started seeing all these comments, I began thinking, okay, definitely not related to that post I saw yesterday. Thank goodness. Artie Baker, author, posted, "Y'all seriously chased Ali Hazelwood off of social media over her preference for a fictional character. Touching grass is nowhere near enough for some of you." Okay, that's a choice, guys. That's a choice. Ali Lavely says, "This is why many of us stay away from book communities, because much of the time those communities end up being more like cults that don't tolerate different opinions." And I'll jump back to this, but you can see at the bottom, read with Cat 907, 2 authors in 3 days. People who claim to be fans are brutal. So I was wondering, so far none of the posts I had seen mentioned what character Ali Hazelwood supports that's so awful, which on one hand, I could understand if it's, like, I guess I could understand if she suddenly came out talking about how she loves a novel by a really problematic author or something. But even villains in books, yeah, they're bad people. In real life, you wouldn't want to know them. But it's part of the experience of consuming media is analyzing, why were they a villain? What was their motivation? How does it play into the world building? And all of that stuff. So I personally have never really gotten a lot of the vitriol directed at people who like the antagonist in a story, but you can see here, Throne of Pages. "Listen, I don't like war criminal Gale, but to harass Ali Hazelwood for saying she likes Gale instead of Peeta is absolutely unhinged, and you guys need to get a grip." Author Jenna Black. "To everyone who was mean to Ali Hazelwood, I hope your socks are always slightly damp. I hope you always hit a red light when you're already late. I hope your phone charger only works at a 37-degree angle. I hope every time you microwave leftovers, the middle stays cold." This is insane, guys. I mean, don't cancel me, but I liked Gale when I first read The Hunger Games. That is insane. My mom really liked Hunger Games when it came out, and I was in high school at the time the trilogy ended. So I wasn't feeling well, and looking back, it was probably caffeine withdrawal, but she told me, if you want to stay home, you have to read these books today. And when I get back, I want to hear your thoughts. So I laid there in bed and read all 3 of The Hunger Games. The point being, when I was reading The Hunger Games actively, Obviously, at the end, you're like, whoa, okay, Gail. But for the first half of the series, at least, I mean, just me personally, obviously, Gail is more of an alpha. I hate using that word, but he's definitely was more confident, more opinionated, took more action towards what he wanted versus Peeta, who, yes, once you get to the end of the series, you realize like there was all this build up to him, but when you're first starting out, I don't blame anyone for preferring Gail. So you can see this post here that I just found from Fallon Ballard that says, look, I was at that panel. I'm one of the people who originally posted about Ali being Team Gail because I was an idiot and thought the internet could take a fucking joke. At LATFOB, we were literally talking about doing a Team Peeta versus Team Gail panel at next year's festival because we thought it was hilarious and in good fun. Now y'all have forced the kindest person in this community away from a platform she thoughtfully and intentionally uses solely to uplift others. Yikes. Leonine Bloom. It was a joke, all in good fun, but now I've seen claims that she has no media literacy and is insulting another author's characters, and it's all bonkers to me. There's so many more important things to get angry about. You're just like, you're not required to like people. You're not required to like specific characters in a book. And that has nothing to do with media literacy. I mean, unless she's representing Gail as the opposite of what he actually was, then sure, I guess you could argue she's not literate in media, but people still love Snape. There are those books coming out now that are advertising themselves as Hermione fan fiction. Arguably, he's a way worse character than Gail ever was. Going back to that other comment, Karina left, and Molly Breyer responded, yep, because she was super real and open about her disappointment on her release day and people got mad at her. I found that really disappointing because I found her authenticity as a neuroatypical author really inspiring and relatable. So this is the other author who also just said they were leaving social media. I wasn't able to get screenshots because I don't have Twitter. But last year, apparently, when Karina, I'm going to say Halle, like Halle Berry, that could be wrong, but Karina Halle was being harassed on Twitter last year when her book was published because I guess a lot of people didn't like the plot synopsis, like the blurb and the cover art. There was a lot of people making fun of her there, according to thread comments from the time period saying, go look at Twitter, all this stuff's going crazy, yada, yada. If we go to Karina's Threads profile, you can see her message where she is saying goodbye to social media. Anyway, starting now, I'm going to cease to exist here and everywhere. Don't know for how long, but you could only hear so many times shitty things about your own personality before you start to think that maybe they're right. And maybe it is better for my career and to be a different person. Professional and neurotypical. And because that feels kind of impossible, I suck at masking. I think the solution is to remove myself entirely. I'll miss you good ones. Please stay safe out there. She then adds on, just wanted to clarify before I'm gone, I'm not leaving because of this one recent person. I just noticed a few readers, ex-readers, in the last few days have said similar things to me. I'm too much and therefore they won't read me anymore. I know their words are meant to hurt and they succeeded. And I'm trying to figure out how to exist as myself without inviting more of this backlash. It's tricky. And she adds some more context. Like, LOL, just say you hate everything I am as a person and go read authors who aren't me, please. Because someone commented on her post. I used to read everything you wrote, but I find you so dramatic, so over the top, and quite frankly, chaotic. I had to jump off your bandwagon. Like, you're not obligated to like somebody. There are plenty of people I don't like, but I don't go to their face. I don't go to their profile and comment, wow, you suck. It's an inside thought. You don't need to broadcast it. It would be one thing if this person had posted privately on their own feed, oh, I don't like this author for XYZ reason. I don't think there's anything wrong. You know, if there's something wrong with that, then there's something wrong with posting any sort of negative review about a piece of media or someone's behavior. But it's another thing entirely to go directly to that person and be like, hey, spoiler, this is why I think you're horrible. That is just absolutely abysmal. She closes out with, and hey, I get people not liking me and thinking who I am as a person is just the worst, enough to stop reading me for good. I've heard these things since I was a kid. I'm too much. I know I am. I just think it's A, really mean to tell me this as if I can help my personality, and B, weird they didn't pick up on this by reading my books, because most of my bad reviews come from people thinking my FMCs, my female main characters, are, well, all those things. I get it. As someone who was bullied in elementary school, in middle school, and high school. So it's like, as someone who has, also experienced that kind of mistreatment, I feel like now that I'm in my 30s, do I really care? No. Did I care a lot at the time? Yes. I feel like generally that's something you get over as you age, but definitely having people come directly at you to tell you you suck is really tough. So some people came out in support of Karina, right? Cora Carmack said, just unfollow, my God. There are plenty of writers, actors, musicians who I love that I've never even thought to follow online because I don't need to know everything about them to enjoy what they create. And I don't have to know about them personally to follow their work. Author Haley responded, I mean, I do jump off bandwagons if I find out an author's a racist, bigoted, transphobic, mean, writing harmful rep, so I guess to her, my personality is equal to that. It's not, honey. That's really awful. Yeah. I can't imagine thinking that it's your... I mean, I guess you have the freedom to do whatever you want, but you don't have the social niceties to keep insults away from the person you're directed at. It's one thing if she had done something like totally egregious, and it's another thing to just attack someone for existing, basically. There we have it. 2 authors have chosen to leave social media over what supposedly were fans going out of their way to attack and harass them. Absolutely wild. That is so crazy. I don't know. And I guess, at least on the Ali Hazelwood side, I get it. They're talking about a third party. Obviously, she didn't write the Hunger Games or anything. So it's different than with Karina, who's being specifically targeted by people for herself, her own existence. But why do you have to directly message them? It's one thing if it is just a post where people are like, boo, Gail sucks in the comments. Okay, whatever. But to escalate it to the point where they're receiving private messages and direct attacks, that is absolutely wild, guys. Obviously, Ali has deleted her Instagram, so I can't go and check out what was being said. But have you ever confronted someone directly on how much you dislike them? Let me know down below. I'm joking. That is just so wild to me. That is so wild to me. Unless someone hurts you directly and you're like, hey, you suck for stabbing me in the back yesterday. Where do you find the gall? That's all I have for you today. I will see you next time.